Hi, hello, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tasmin. I am originally from Germany, but I moved to the Azores Archipelago in the middle of the Atlantic. and I make content on here about my island life, gardening, sustainability, books, and writing, because I'm also an author. And today we're having a cozy little book video while I work parallel on an island gardening vlog that is also coming soon. But today we're talking about books, and specifically we're doing a tag video, which I don't usually do anymore because I'm not like a channel that is like super specific on one topic. However, this tag is very different because I invented it. If you didn't know, I host the Climathon. The Climathon is a year-long reading event, reading challenge, readathon, where we try to read more books about nature and the environment. I will leave the announcement video linked in the cards and down below in the description box, so you can check it out if you're a reader or if you're into sustainability or best of both worlds, you know. This is definitely for you. You can still join. It's running all year of 2024, so you can still join. It's never too late. And hand in hand with that, me and my co-host Anya, we have come up with the nature book tag. So if you want to do this tag, feel free to feel tagged and do this yourself. I will leave some tags down below. Like, I have some people that I want to tag, but if you're not on that list and you want to be tagged, you've been tagged. Have fun. This tag has 10 questions all around books and nature, so let's go. Question number 1. What is your favorite book that has a heavy focus on nature? All genres are valid for this question. Okay, so for this, before my big hiatus, I was gone for I think 3 months now, but before my big hiatus, I had a video that went up all about nature writing, like both nature writing in books that I read as well as nature writing in like the skill of writing. It's like both. So I will refer you to that video because I talk about a lot of books in there that I love, that inspired me, and that I think have great nature writing. But just to name 3 of my absolute favorites, for non-fiction we have The Hidden Life of Trees by Peter Wohlleben, absolutely changed my life. Then for literary fiction we have The Overstory by Richard Powers, and for YA/fantasy we have This Poison Heart by Caitlin Barron. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. The name just left my brain. But you see it on the screen, this book. Question number 2. Which book gave you a wake-up call, climate or otherwise? So for this question, you can of course always pick a book that made you wake up to the whole climate emergency or to certain aspects within it. And I've read some great books in that regard. However, for today's tag, I decided to go for 2 other books. And those are, one gave me a very rough wake-up call, and another one just gave me a lot of perspective on my own worldview and how that could be different. So the first book that I want to talk about is Unwell Women, which is a book about how medicine has mistreated women throughout history and still mistreats them today, and why that is, where that comes from, and so on and so forth. And it is so well done because it explains everything, like from the history of contraception to how women were treated before, like, you know, modern medicine, then hysteria, and like so much pain and suffering that went into where we are today. So there's like a lot of gratitude to the women who came before me, but there's also so much anger when you read this book. Like, it really gave me a wake-up call of like, oh, okay, like it was not all just in my head. Like, every time I felt mistreated at a doctor, like, it wasn't just in my head. This is real, and I'm not the only one experiencing this. So it's a very good book, but it will make you very, very angry. And another book is called, I think in English, Humankind. I read the German version called Im Grunde gut, where For once, I like the German cover more than the English one, which never happens, but in this one it happened. And this is basically, this is also nonfiction, and it is basically a book that explores the idea that humans are, at the core of their being, good people. And that we are not only capable to incredible violence and horror, but also incredible kindness and love. And it's not like a spiritual book at all. It is a very like straightforward non-fiction book. It's like anthropological, sociological, oh my god, book. And it's very good. It's very good. I don't agree with it 100%, but it definitely gave me a lot of perspective and a wake-up call in regards of like, oh wow, I just have like a very negative view on humanity, and it like challenged that, and I really appreciated that. Question number 3, your favorite book cover that features nature. Very quick and easy answer: Why Women Grow. I've read this recently after I saw it on the Climathon TBR of my co-host Anya, and the cover is just so stunning. I love it so much. Question number 4. A book that discusses revolution and change. For this, again, it can be about climate, but it can also be about other revolution or change, because social justice and climate justice are hand in hand, they belong together. And so many factors play into the whole climate emergency that we have right now. So whatever kind of revolution or change you're interested in, you can choose that for this question. I personally also went with a little bit of an unconventional answer, I want to say, and that is A Psalm for the Wild Bill by Becky Chambers. This is one of my favorite books of all time. It is very short, and it is sci-fi. However, it is not your classical let's go to space sci-fi. It is, I don't know if it is on Earth specifically, I guess so, but it like imagines a more positive future. It's kind of like solar punk, and it just reimagines how the world could look like if we would take a huge step back from technology and from capitalism, and we would just slow down and live more in community and with the earth. You know, like, it's so beautiful, because, you know, not all kind of revolution and change has to be loud and aggressive. It doesn't have to be. It can be, of course, but it doesn't have to be. And I feel like this is like a very quiet, cozy, beautiful way of being revolutionary and showing that change is possible. Question number 5. Do you read outside? If yes, where is your favorite spot to do so? For me personally, I used to read a lot, outside, mostly in the train. When I was still living in Germany, I was commuting like a lot because I was living in the suburbs. And I would read like at the train stations, which are outside, and in the train like a whole ton. And like wherever I went, I always had like a book in my hands, and I was always like reading. However, now that I actually live in a place that has absolutely stunning nature, I don't really read outside anymore. I think because when I am outside, I'm either like working in the garden or on the house, or I'm just outside because I want to be outside. You know, like when I go to the ocean, I want to look at the ocean, because I love reading, yes, but reading is definitely a form of escapism for me to a certain degree. I love just like deep diving into a world I don't know, like in a fantasy world, for example, or, you know, learn something new with a nonfiction book and like really engage my mind. But when I'm outside here, because the nature is so beautiful, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be somewhere else. I want to be right here, right now. So that's what I'm doing. So I have kind of stopped reading outside. I sometimes try to read like on my doorstep or on my terrace, but we currently don't have a solution that would give me shade. And in the summer, you have like full burning sun over there the entire day. So that's not very pleasant. We need to get something like an umbrella or something to make some shade there, because at the moment it's not very pleasant out there. But yeah, that's what I sometimes try to do. But like I just end up looking at the ocean instead, because I just love it. I never get tired of it. Question number 6. Your favorite indigenous author or book? Of course, for this one you can just pick one answer. I have two. My favorite indigenous author is Robin Wall Kimmerer, the author of Braiding Sweetgrass. There is no way in hell this tag would have gone down without me mentioning maybe my favorite book of all time. I'm not sure. I don't like tier rank that hard, but it's such a good book. Braiding Sweetgrass is such an amazing book. I kind of want to reread it, but it's not the right time yet. But I love it so much. I still actually need to read Gathering Moss by the same author. But if she were to come out with another book, I would be there. I would be there. I would be the first in line. I would be like, yes, please give it to me right now. I need to read it. I will read everything and anything this author ever publishes again, because Braiding Sweetgrass changed my entire life. However, for favorite indigenous book, I have another answer, and that is Project 562, which is by Matika Wilbur, who is one of the hosts of the All My Relations podcast, which I dearly love. I listen to it all the time. That's how I came across the author, and I came across her project, which is this project. And she is an indigenous woman, very well versed. And one of the things she does is she's a photographer. And over many, many, many years, she traveled to all 562 at the time. Nowadays, I think it's a few more. But at the time, 562 recognized indigenous tribes in North America. And she visited them and photographed people from them in the way that they wanted to be photographed, because we all know there are books out there where people photograph indigenous people, but it's like always from a Western lens and like kind of staged to show how exotic they are. And this book doesn't do that. It photographs the people as they are. It photographs the people the way they wanted to be photographed, and it tells their stories. It's not just look at the pictures, look how beautiful they are, but it really tells the stories of those people and those communities and those tribes. And it is such an incredible book. Oh my God. I read it from the library, but I will definitely one day get a physical copy of this book, because I need to have it in my house because it's so amazing. Like the diversity in which people show resilience and resistance and keep their cultures alive, like, is incredible to me. And it's so beautiful and heartbreaking and so many things. It's so emotional and just so well done. It's just, I highly, highly recommend this book. Question number 7. A book that takes place outside or features nature as a character. Example given, an animal or a tree. I have to be honest, I don't think I've ever read a book where like an animal or a plant was the protagonist, except for like children's books. So I didn't have something for that. However, what I do have answers for, multiple answers, but I'm going to tone it down to just one answer, is a book that takes place outside. I love books that take place outside, especially like travel memoirs, especially when it's like slow travel over long periods of time where you really get to know like a place or the people of the place. I just love it so much. And the book that I've chosen for this tag today is maybe my favorite book of the bunch. And that is, oh God, I forgot the English title. I think On the Trail of Genghis Khan. Sorry, I also don't know how to say that name in English. I'm pretty sure it's not Genghis Khan in English. That's the German way of saying that name. By Tim Cope. Anyway, you see it on the screen. You see it here. This book is by Tim Cope, and he traveled the entire expanse of the ex-Mongol Empire, which, by the way, the length that he did was not under Genghis Khan. It was actually under his grandson Kublai Khan, because that's when the Mongol Empire was at its largest. From China, the East Coast. Yes, I just had to do the thing with the compass in my brain. From the East Coast of China all the way to Europe. So like this entire span, he's traveling it, and he's traveling it by horse. He has a tent, he has a horse, and he's going. And he didn't bring like a great stallion. This is not like a book for horse lovers or anything. He literally just flew there, and he was like, hello everybody, I would like to buy a horse. And so he bought a horse and off he went. And it took him years to complete this journey. And it's such an amazing book because not only do you learn the history of the place, but you also get to know the people. You really experience how it would be like, you know, to live there as a nomadic person if someone from the West was to decide to do that, which is exactly what he did. Like, it's a very good book. Of course, it's a Western perspective, obviously, but it's just such a good travel book. And it takes place 100% outside because, again, he has a tent, he has a horse, and he is on this incredible journey. Question number 8. Which books do you associate with each of the 4 elements? Water, fire, earth, and air. Here, of course, we all have a little bit of wiggle room for interpretation. And the first one, I'm very on the nose, and I'm staying with the whole climate topic. I won't do that for all elements, but for water, I have chosen Spying on Whales, which is a non-fiction book all about whales, which taught me a lot because whales are so cool. And I live in a place where a huge section of tourism is whale watching. I've seen whales, I see whales outside of my house. So yes, it's a very good book all about whales and what we know of them and what we don't know of them. For fire, I was thinking, what do I associate with fire? Spicy books. I don't read a whole ton of them because romance is not really my genre. However, I did read Love and Other Disasters by Anita Kelly, and I loved this book. This is hands down my favorite romance book I've ever read. And it is about a woman and a non-binary person who meet each other at a baking reality show competition. And things go from there. There's definitely spice in there, for sure. And I just loved it. Highly recommend. With earth, I associate something that grounds me, that brings me back to earth, something that calms me and, you know, touch grass. And that's why I chose Legends and Lattes for this one. This is a cozy fantasy. And I've just finished, last night, I finished the prequel that came out as kind of like a second book, but it's a prequel, Bookshops and Bone Dust. And I enjoyed this one as well. So yeah, those books really they're just so cozy and calm, and they just calm me down. They calm my nervous system down, and yeah, that's good. And with air, I associate like a light-hearted book, you know, like something that makes you feel light. And for that, I had to say The Tea Dragon Society. I've read the first 2 books of the 3. I'm waiting for my library to get the 3rd one. And it's so good. It's so beautiful. It's a graphic novel, and I can't even describe it to you. And they're like quite short, so I also don't want to spoil anything. But they're just so beautiful. They're so beautiful. They're also like very cozy and just lighthearted. They feel like a hug, and like you can grow wings, and like everything is possible. And I love them so much. Question number 9. We are all connected. Name a book that brought you community, for example, via a book club or a buddy read or something like that, or a book that made you think about community. I'm not the biggest buddy reader, book club person because I'm such a huge mood reader. It's very hard for me to like plan stuff out. And the only person I've buddy read books with is Anya, that I'm co-hosting this tag and the Climathon with. And we're just really unlucky. I have hated every single book we have buddy read. So yeah, that's also not how we like got together or anything. So, there is a book that I've read a few years ago that made me think a lot about community, and that is highly underrated. I've never seen anybody else talk about this book, and I just freaking love it. It is How We Show Up, and I love this book. This is a book about community, yes, but also about friendship and family, and it kind of like detangles them, but also like brings them back together, and it really shows you how you can show up for the people you love and for your community. So yes, highly recommend this book. Question number 10. Have you ever participated in Climathon, or are you planning to? Well, yeah, because I'm the one who makes the Climathon. A few years ago, I came up with the idea of hosting a readathon or a reading challenge all about nature and the environment. And I had like a few versions of the Climathon, and I feel like this year I'm really at a point where I'm like super happy with it. The fact that it's now year long, and I really like the prompts and stuff like that. So I'm like really happy where it's at right now. And I'm also really happy that I'm no longer doing it alone, but instead I have now a co-host, Anya from Well Traveled Books, who I met through the Climathon. She participated, I think, in the first or second round that I've done, and that's how we became friends. And now we literally talk every single day, and she's my co-host in the Climathon, and she and I did this tag together. We've invented it together. So like a huge shout out to Anya. If you like books and you don't follow her, I don't know what you're doing. But she's amazing, and I'm very grateful for the Climathon. And I'm so grateful that this year there's like a lot more people participating. So if you're participating in the Climathon, please let me know in the comments down below. Let me know who you are and how you came across this. And yeah, I'm just so excited that you're here and that you're participating. And if you are not participating, if you just read a single book, you don't need to complete the whole prompts board if that's not your thing. It's completely optional. But if you just read one book about nature or the environment or the climate crisis or anything like that, you can participate, and it's totally valid. It's just a challenge to get you to read more about these topics. So if you're interested, feel free to join. Anyway, that was the nature book tag. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I see you next Sunday with probably either a vlog or me chatting about the garden. Let's see how the next week goes. Bye!